Thank you for joining this SMM webinar this afternoon with Shelley Bellefontaine from Atlantic Online, titled How to Build a Lead Generation System to Get the Attention Your Business Deserves. So during the session, and if you have any questions, please do not forget to put it in the Q&A box below. And also, would like to let you know that this session is recorded and will be uploaded on the Digiport YouTube channel. So now I'll hand it over to Shelley. Welcome, Shelley.
Thank you, Karaj. Thank you very much, Digital Nova Scotia, for the opportunity to speak with people today. We're going to be talking about building a lead generation approach and system so that you can get the attention that your business deserves. Okay, so let's just roll on with this. A little bit about me. I own Atlantic Online Marketing. It's a digital marketing agency that I operate out of my consultancy based in Southwest Nova Scotia. We serve an audience that extends beyond Atlantic Canada, and our business model works through a distributed network of professionals across North America so that we can serve our clients here and abroad. And I have an amazing, amazing team of people throughout the Maritimes and throughout the United States that join me to deliver what I think are the most amazing results for our clients. This is me, Shelley Bellefontaine, and I'm very happy to be here with you today. I just want to give a little plug for our previous webinars that we've broadcast through Digital Nova Scotia. They can be found on the Digiport webinar, on the Digiport YouTube channel. Some things that we did, that Atlantic Online did this summer and earlier this year, so we led a few webinars on how to position your business for the power of Facebook advertising that might be helpful to review as to augment your learning today. We also ran a webinar on using social media for lead generation as well. And then we talked to you about how to position your brand and your business for the power of social media advertising so that you could, showcase your excellence to the world. Those three webinars kind of complement what we're going to be talking about today. I'd also like to give recognition, of course, to Ingrid Dion of WordCraft. She's also showcased on the Digiport YouTube channel with her expertise in social media management for business owners. So there's a great deal of resourceful information on the Digiport channel, and it's freely accessible through the YouTube channel. So I highly recommend, if you have a chance, to check us out there. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about lead generation, and this is a little different than some of the lead generation webinars that we've done in the past, but it's going to focus primarily on the three pillars of lead generation and how we can address using those pillars within our approach to lead generation. The very first and very most important part of lead generation is the awareness piece. That's the time in which we position our value or the value of our offer to the people who actually need our service. So the awareness pillar is tremendously important as the gateway to your entire lead generation focus. Then we have the second pillar known as conversion, and that is any act that's taken by a member of your target audience as it's related to your value or your offer. So that's what we covered. We covered that initial opportunity to showcase our value to our clients by having them engage in a conversion activity of some kind. That could be something as simple as getting them to pick up the call to make an appointment request, or of course, downloading something of value from your website. So it's an act of conversion. Then the third pillar, and the third most important pillar, is once we have made our product aware, made our target audience aware rather, and once they've converted in some capacity, kind of have an obligation to then nurture them, nurture that relationship with them. So this is the third pillar focuses on any sort of outreach in which we take part in that helps to convert our audience to continue to be a part of our audience. And it's an opportunity to build our working relationship with that audience. So In order to support these three pillars of lead generation, we need some tech pieces in place. So if you think about what's happening at the awareness level, we're looking at using social media to do outreach, either through paid campaigns or through organic positioning. Um, we're also looking at things like pay-per-click advertising, where we can position ads on the Google network, for example. That's a great way to generate awareness to an audience that's actually looking for your service, as opposed to Facebook, which is a little bit more broadcasty. Um, Email is an awesome way to generate awareness. When you begin your business, or as you move forward with your business, you're collecting leads, and you're collecting lead information in the form of their email address. So it's important, I think, to use that as part of your awareness. And we're going to be talking a great deal today on how you can best use email properly and safely to reach your audience. During the conversion stage, we're looking at needing things like our website. We need a landing page. We need lead forms on the web page. We need some way to capture the interest that the target audience has. We need some way of contacting their contact information. Sometimes, too, at the conversion level, we might be selling a very low priced lead-in offer. So we'll need e-commerce technologies in place at the conversion stage. As we move forward to nurturing, then of course we want to continue with developing that relationship with the client by doing targeted email outreach, doing organic social media, because by then hopefully they're a follower on our social channels. And here's a further opportunity to do some very strong targeted pay-per-click advertising back to your known audience. So while we say we have to respect these three pillars of lead generation, there's a great deal happening in the background, behind the curtain of each of these pillars as well. So that just kind of sets the tone for today's conversation on lead generation. Now, we may have heard that there are a variety of strategies that tend to be we can very easily, I think, organize these types of strategies into either outbound methodologies or inbound types of strategies. So it's worth taking a moment to examine the difference between the two, because it could help set the tone for what you want to do going forward. In terms of outbound marketing, consider that to be very akin to like broadcasting. The outreach can be digital. Think of it too as traditional forms of marketing. When you think of like television ads, radio, billboards, those are all outgoing, outbound types of conversations that we have. It could be a display ad. It's something that's being broadcast to the space in which your audience is. Broadcasting, obviously. Billboards, I think, are a classic example of an outbound marketing technique. Cold calling, oh my gosh, we dread those cold calls. I personally do not do cold calls. Thankfully, we've come to a point using marketing technologies that we don't have to cold call to a prospect list anymore. Trade shows are very much akin to an outbound marketing technology that can work when you have a trade show audience that's specific to your industry, but it is a form of outbound marketing. Outbound is also considered to be a very aggressive part of marketing, because you're broadcasting your message to a very, very wide audience, and sometimes that may feel that it's intrusive to your audience. The preferred method is through inbound methodologies. And this is where we put content together on our channels, and we encourage people to visit us on our existing channels. So we put very important information that's relevant to our audience in our blogs, for example. We then have the opportunity to say, develop an email like flow for encouraging new members to join our world. And I had inviting them to have an opt-in and nurturing flow for our email. Search engine optimization is an excellent inbound marketing technique because it allows us to position our content on, the pages of search where people are actually looking for the types of content that we offer. So this is supported, of course, by knowing your audience and knowing the types of keywords that they're looking for. And when you provide value, then you can certainly see an increase in your search engine optimization positioning. By putting inviting content out there on your social channels, then that's another way in which you can invite your audience to pop through. Email campaigns support an inbound structure as well. And at any time when we can have conversational marketing tools in place, then that as well is going to be a very effective inbound marketing tool. Some say it's a passive approach. I prefer to think that it's a respectful approach to dealing with your audience. We don't want to be blasted advertising to. We don't want to be inundated with any more advertising than what we already have. Rather, when I choose a product from a vendor, I want to be able to take the time to assess that vendor on my own terms using these types of methodologies where I can get to know their brand. So a respectful vendor will use more outbound marketing techniques to give the audience time to get to know them. So that's my take on inbound versus outbound. I'd welcome a conversation on that, but I believe that the inbound method is certainly much more respectful to your audience. In terms of our audience, it's really important that we understand the journey that our prospects take when they are on their way to doing business with us. And I think it's really important to know the customer journey and to respect the customer journey as well. So just to summarize, it is the path that people travel on in their quest to learn more about what our business can do and the value that we can provide. But the customer sales journey is also something that we can control as well. When we think about that customer journey, we've all seen similar charts to this, that there's the awareness piece, consideration, the actual purchase or that coveted conversion, if you will, and then the efforts to retain that audience member, and then advocacy is that individual broadcasting and sharing their great experiences with us. This customer journey doesn't speak about direct targeting, but there is an opportunity here at this level during the awareness stage to broadcast or to communicate what your value is that you provide in terms of your service or your offer as it relates to the target audience that your service would most resonate with. So when we think about that customer journey, we always have to make sure that we respect that prospect and make sure that we send out information that's relevant just to them. But this is the typical customer journey. They first become aware of what your product is. If it resonates with them, and if your targeting has been on point, then it will resonate with them. Then they'll go through the next stage, which is kind of consideration. How they consider you, of course, is by doing some research, reading your blogs, looking at those other inbound opportunities that we talked about. The next phase, typically of a customer journey, if what you have to offer is of value to them, is that they will convert, they will make a purchase. And then your relationship or your obligation to that relationship with your customer is far from over. The next part is the retention effort. How are you going to continue to respect and retain that customer? Is often determined by this step here at the retention area. And if you do a very good job, then people are going to show you some love, and they're going to brag about your services, and they're going to share about their experiences, and that's really worth gold. In terms of the customer sale journey, you have to appreciate that it is the entire set of experiences that a customer will go through when they are interacting with your brand. And every interaction that a customer has with your brand, whether it be on your website or social media or in person, is going to influence the relationship that that customer is going to have with your company. So all of these interactions, ultimately add up to that customer journey from when they first become aware of your offering to the middle part, not the end, but the middle part when they make that final purchasing decision, then through to them advocating on your behalf. So we need to understand how they prefer to engage with our brand. And when you do a solid customer analysis and you define the customer personas and the types of people, and as you develop your business, you'll get to know this more and more as well. My audience has changed significantly over the years. But as we continue to understand our audience, then we can serve up and use the right kind of marketing tools to invite them into our world. Let's take a look at the customer journey very quickly. This is an example of, oh yes, booking an airline flight. So we know awareness and consideration and purchase and so forth. We know those are the pillars of the customer journey. But what's happening at the awareness level is that some technologies are being used, either word of mouth, traditional forms of broadcasting, radio, TV, and print. Certainly within the airline industry, they would use those types of channels, and then their own public relation efforts. From a digital perspective, they may become aware of this service through online ads, through email, or through pay-per-click as they're searching for it. Then we look at different types of technologies or marketing technologies or solutions that could be used at the consideration stage. This is where we start to use our more social ads. This is where we invite people to come into our world and look at the blog information and the articles that further explain our value to help them make a decision whether or not they're going to move forward with us. Okay, and then of course we offer at the conversion stage when they actually make that purchase. We'll see that there are different technologies that are used at that time. And I highlight all of this because even though people say, oh, you have to be on social media, you have to use email, you have to have a website and a landing page. Well, yeah, you kind of do. But how you use them at different intervals of the customer journey is what is going to give you the most value out of these marketing tools. Okay. All right. It's really important that we look at the entire customer journey and that we map that process that our customers take for a variety of reasons. Number one is that it's going to help us empathize with our customers. If we don't understand the experience that our customers are having as they walk through this system, we're not going to be able to improve on it. We're not going to be able to validate what we're doing. So this is an opportunity to empathize with what our customers are experiencing. And it's also going to give us the opportunity to identify some gaps in our service delivery. It can help us predict customer behavior as well. But mapping the customer journey is going to be a very, very strong visual aid for all of our stakeholders. Okay. This is a sample of a journey blueprint. Hopefully you can see it, but we're going to do a deep dive in I'll do a demonstration of the tool that I use that helps to identify the successful structure that this blueprint can offer. But basically we start when we have an understanding of that customer journey, then we have to ask ourselves, what types of tech and what types of outreach tools are we going to use to bring that or to channel that customer through the journey? Usually starts with a Facebook ad or some sort of an outreach tool, an awareness piece that we discussed. If they're successful, then they'll move on to our landing page, accept our offer, and so forth. When we have a mild conversion known as the capture of an email address, then we have an opportunity to do more outreach to that audience member. So this is a very simple structure of how we can use a Facebook ad to encourage a download of a PDF as an offer, and then some things that we can do to communicate, and this is the communication structure that we go through until we move that customer through to the final conversion of making a sale. In terms of the actual journey, let's take a look at an example of selling, say, a $5,000 piece of service. If you have a strong email list, and we're going to be talking about the benefits of using email over broadcasting through Facebook shortly, let's presume for a second that we have a strong email list and we have 1,000 prospects in it. If we send out an email that's highly targeted to our audience, we can expect open rates of upwards to 80%. I have gotten that for some of my clients. On average, I get about a 30 to 40% open rate on most of the emails that I send out. And when it's any lower than that, I always say, oh, it's time to reassess. Are we sending the right message to the audience? When you are sending the right message to your audience, you'll get very high open rates. So let's presume this going forward. If we expect an average conversion rate of 5% on that number, to invite somebody, say, to book a meeting with us, we're looking at potentially 40 people who have just booked a meeting with us. If you look at a close rate of an optimistic 20%, you're looking at 8 new clients who have just come through your funnel. And that's really going to translate into, whatever, $40,000 in new revenue. This is a model that works. This is an example of a situation that garnered this same result from one of our clients. So when you have a solid understanding of your customer and how to communicate with them, then these types of processes do indeed generate the value that they are intended. When we think about lead generation, let's just talk for a sec. It's that process of generating consumer interest for your product or your service. The goal is always to turn that prospect, to turn that interest into an actual sale. In online marketing, this typically involves collecting visitors' information, as we've seen, through either a lead magnet, a lead by a web form, in exchange for something of value known as that lead magnet. When you use lead generation strategies and tactics, you not only get more leads, but you have an opportunity to start building more relationships with your clients and with people who will become your clients. Obviously, this is going to help boost your sales and your revenue. It's also going to boost your customer retention rates. And its lead generation is a critical aspect of any business, no matter the size of your business. If you're not generating leads on a consistent basis, then there's a gap there that you have to address for sure. So let's focus a little more in what we need in order to consistently win with lead generation prospecting. We definitely need that well-defined target niche. And I say niche, not niche. You have to encourage them to have a relationship with you by giving them something that they just simply cannot refuse. What do you offer them that they cannot refuse? Well, this is your opportunity here to do a thorough competitive analysis to see what your competitors are doing. I think using case studies is a fabulous way to generate proof of past purchases from other situations, and that's going to resonate quite well with your audience. Using a simple sales funnel, you definitely need every business needs a sales funnel regardless. That sales funnel, of course, is supported by a tech stack of a variety of marketing tools. And then part of all of that, the glue, I think, that holds everything together is having really compelling copy. You need to resonate your offer. You need to communicate your offer in such a way, rather, that it resonates well with your audience. And that's achieved through compelling copy. A dedicated follow-up system. You don't ever want to leave a lead cold on the table. So you need to know how to reach out to those prospects. So definitely having a dedicated follow-up system in place as part of your standard operating procedures is going to be critical. Then, of course, an appointment booking process. So, a well-defined target or niche. Is it niche or niche? I remember it by saying riches are in the niches. Okay. Broad targeting is okay, but if you niche down, then you have a greater success rate of developing those compelling target messages. Defining the niche for the benefit of your customer is really what should be your primary motivator. Have you ever shopped at Winners? Okay, let me tell you a little story. One day I needed a red purse for a certain event. So I said, okay, well, I'm here at the mall. I'll just pop into Winners. I'm sure I can find a red purse there. Well, I didn't. I found black purses, brown purses. I found tiny little red clutches. I found red suitcases. I found a plethora of other things that were irrelevant to my search for a red purse. That's all I wanted. So as a result of that frustrating experience, and this is not dissing Winners, because Winners is a fabulous store. Everybody shops there. We know that. But they're not really targeting their products for a specific audience. They're just very general and very vague. That's why you have menswear, children's wear, housewear, all within the same roof. I needed to have that red purse. So as a result of that bad experience where I couldn't find what I was looking for, I then did a very targeted search. And when I entered my keywords of specifically what I was looking for, I ended up finding it at, I think it was the Steve Madden, Steve Madden purse, on their website. Because I used a very targeted set of keywords, I said, I'm looking for, they were number one on the search, so they got my business. So as a result of the Steve Madden website or the Steve Madden marketing agency, knowing their customer well, they were able to best define what their niche was and align their products accordingly. Niching allows you to streamline internal processes. Okay, you don't want to keep reinventing the wheel when you want to target your audience. Niching is going to increase your closure rates as well. Winners didn't get my dollar that day. Niching as well is going to allow you to collect more testimonials of positive experiences and case studies for future proof as well. And think of your niches like Russian dolls, right? Now, I'm in the e-commerce space. I offer e-commerce services, but I would never advertise that. I niche down to the very specific industry that needs e-commerce services, as an example. Okay, so niche down to the very, very smallest. A couple of tips for picking your niche. I keep saying niche. You want to take a look at what your total addressable market is, and that translates into how many people you can theoretically reach out to. Now, on that $5,000 model that I showed you a few minutes ago, where there were like 8 new prospects that came in, I wouldn't be able to handle that in 1 month. So I reduced my, target market as a result of that. I can service that, of course, but you want to make sure that what the audience that you reach out to is tangible. I suggest not having an audience any less than 10,000. And if you don't have an audience of about 10,000 for your specific niche, then there's an opportunity for you to engage in more social media activity and more outbound marketing, perhaps to get more people involved with your brand. If you have a small total addressable market, say of less than 30,000, then that's your opportunity to maybe opt in for more personalization and this lower outreach. As a result, you need to do more personalization in your outreach so that you avoid this ad fatigue and that you don't saturate the market. If you have a larger TAM, like a larger total addressable market, then it tends to be a bit more efficient and your advertising is going to end up being less costly as well. And when reaching out to your tab and defining it, don't be married to just the Canadian marketplace. And don't be married to just one currency either. You can expand to the US if you're operating in Canada. And you want to expand in areas where you have the most experience. And, quite frankly, that's not bound by geography. So in terms of your expansion to your niche, when making your offer, there are some things that you want to consider. The no-brainer offer doesn't mean you just say, I'm an e-commerce developer, or I'm a web designer. Well, so is everybody whose cousins live in their basement. But we don't want to say, we just offer a 3-time return on ad spend. We don't want to say things like, oh, we generate 10 user-generated content videos for you. We don't want to say things like, we are offers purveyors of self-sufficiency coaching. Instead, when you position your offer in front of your audience, use language like this. Use, instead of 3 times return on ad spend, say 3 times ROAS in 30 days without you having to do creatives, or we'll refund our service and your ad spend. Say 10 user-generated content videos that will outperform your current ads in 2 weeks without you having to do anything. 2 weeks of intensive one-on-one coaching. See, we're validating this. We're expanding the offer, and we're putting the value in the whole statement to teach you how to be the business marketer you don't have to hire. So there's a theme here. We're expanding on what the no-brainer offer is in our copy. The other theme that you'll see here is that there are guarantees embedded. Don't be afraid to offer a guarantee. When you're positioning your initial offer in front of your audience, that offer that's going to be that initial digital handshake, don't be afraid to put a guarantee there. So let's think about this for a sec. If you offer a $5,000 or $10,000 service and your client didn't get the results that you anticipated, you're not going to take a chance of not addressing that. You're not going to take a chance that your client might speak badly about their experience with you or even sue you. You're going to remedy that situation as best you can, or you're going to give them a full refund. And even if you don't advertise what your guarantee is when you make that initial offer, you're likely going to be providing one simply because you operate with integrity, and build that into your offer. Tout your integrity and offer that guarantee. And that helps to build that no-brainer offer. Lead generation extends beyond technology. It's part of how your relationship is with your customer, for sure. Case studies. They are traditionally defined as a summary of research and of experience. Case studies are most sought after by high-ticket clients. They're a form of peer review, and they are testimonials that are absolutely golden for your business. It's your digital word of mouth. Now, traditionally, case studies have been, based on a specific subject, based on very strict research methodologies and so forth. Fortunately, there is an alternative today, and that's known as the one-sentence case study. Allow me to explain the one-sentence pitch. The one-sentence pitch is your opportunity to turn an existing case study or an experience into one sentence, into a structured pitch. For example, we helped ABC Law Firm get a 4-time return on ad spend in 40 days without spending thousands of dollars on A/B split testing. How? Well, we did the correct research to reach the right audience. Another one-sentence pitch that I've used, and these are actual situations that we've had the pleasure of experiencing for our customers. So we do speak from a position of authority on this. We helped a vacation resort client average 14 new daily subscriptions by adding blah, blah, blah. So you can read the rest of this. The point is, these are testimonials, or these are case studies of situations. These are summaries of experiences that a positive experience has had with our clients. So this is something we use as part of our marketing strategy. This is something that helps reinforce our value as well when we're pitching our no-brainer offers to our audience. Okay. Case studies don't have to be bundled in great big branded PDFs either, and it's okay to keep it short, keep it relevant. The next thing that one needs when they're thinking about incorporating formal lead generation strategies in their business is a simple sales funnel. And every business needs a sales funnel of some kind. It can start with a very simple sales funnel with one clear intention: to book a call, to get a quote, to visit our store. It's an opportunity to position your awareness on social media or through email. And this is a way to offer a clear path of the action that we want our prospect to take. Otherwise, they're going to get lost. Okay, let's take a look at the simple sales funnel using both an ad and a landing page. So this is a Facebook ad for the Dance Dreamer Academy, and it's a very strong piece of advertising. It has a hook, an intro, case study, creates, desire, urgency, and call to action all in one. So the hook here is that, well, your child was born with everything they need to be whatever our parent wants them to be. And what's really interesting here with the next part is that, is it your dream for them to live passionately, play boldly, etc.? They're not asking if it's the child's dream, because the child is not paying for this service. The child is not going to go through the effort of registering themselves. They might express their desire to dance to the parent, but it's the parent that we're targeting this ad towards. The parent is enjoying this case study. Okay. And then we build urgency into this ad, and we encourage them to do something, which is click now to book through. This is a brilliant example of a simple sales funnel. As we move forward, after hypothetically clicking on this link, we get to a landing page. We don't get to the website. Well, we get to a page on their website, but we don't see the whole website. This is a screenshot of the entire page. We don't see a navigation at the top. We don't see distractions throughout the page. This is the intention of this landing page is single fold. It has one ask, and that is to book a call. And this is an opportunity for that parent to then learn a little bit more about what the offer is, but just to book an introductory month package. Wow, 1 month as an introductory, spaces are filling up. This is what I can give my child. This is a strong series of a landing page. This is an awesome funnel. Awesome. The key here is that we don't overcomplicate it and we move things through quickly. Okay. In terms of the tech stack, thankfully, gone are the days when we do things manually. But I'd be talking about a few things that might be outside of your normal realm or your normal thoughts concerning the tech stack. We talk about using burner domains versus using your own single domain. We know what a burner phone is, one of those temporary phones we use for a single purpose for a short amount of time anonymously. We could do a similar thing and ethically using burner domains. Talk about some email software that can be used as part of your tech stack that can help you capture information and send. And talk to you about broadcasting and using the power of LinkedIn and the prospecting tools that are available there as well. We'll also take a look at using the Facebook engine to generate some lead ads. Okay, so let's roll into the tech stack. This is important. This one's very important, actually. There are some assumptions I need to make before I get into the important part. There are some assumptions that I'm making going forward that you do have online channels established, that you already have one domain name, that you have a website, that you have domain email, and that you have a Facebook page, Instagram, and LinkedIn. This is not, today's talk is not on setting up a domain or setting up a website or any of these other assets. If you need help with that, reach out, check out the Digital Nova Scotia members directory. There are tons of qualified agencies and agents within the province that can help you with these things. But moving forward on the presumption that you have these, and if you want to do large scale email marketing outreach, then burner domains are the way to go. Okay, having a domain name, everybody has that abc.com. But a burner domain is necessary when you're thinking of sending out mass emails from your company domain. When you do that, when you send out mass emails to that total addressable market, of 10,000 to 30,000 and above, hopefully, of clients, you risk having your domain name blacklisted if you're perceived as being a spammer. And sending out large bulk emails like that in terms of those numbers will, my guarantee, get you blacklisted. And you don't want to live in the spam folder. There are very, very low open rates from the spam folder, and your outreach results will be very, very poor. So the solution here, when you have a huge list that you want to communicate to, is to buy burner domains. And they are basically variations of your main domain name, and then you will send from those. Use a variety of like prefix and suffix domains like use, pro, meet your email. So here we have some examples. Use company.com, companypro.com. Company.com is your domain name, right? So you can have a variety of these burner type domains positioned to help support the distribution of large mass emails. And it's highly recommended. So how do we do that? Go off and buy 10 new domains. I use Google Domain because I always I register all my domains now with Google, because it's so much easier to set up a Gmail address associated with each domain. So I would recommend buying, up to 10 domains structured with your main domain name and then the prefix or suffix attached, and set up a Gmail inbox for each domain. And again, use the Google Workspace to do that. If you're not technically inclined, there are lots of resources online and through Digital Nova Scotia that can help. Give us a call if you need assistance as well. But it's important that when you set up these domains that you put a special record in the domain name settings, and that's a DMARC record. And the DMARC record is a certain identifying record that is going to secure your email sends, and receivers of your email will check your domain record and they'll see that it's legitimate and that it's not, originated from a nefarious source. Okay. A little techie, I apologize, but that is necessary to set up this DMARC record. So that's the strategy I recommend. And as a result, when you send from these multiple domains, you'll be able to protect the integrity of your email campaigns, and you'll be able to protect the integrity of your corporate domain structure as well. Okay. Email settings. Okay, when you have mass email considerations, and this is really, important as you're building your business, as you're building your leads, you're compiling lists. It's going to grow, and if you do outreach campaigns or social media lead generation campaigns that build your list and you do it right, you can look forward to building hundreds of emails over the course of a week. If you run that on a weekly basis, if you run a consistent flow of offering a solid lead in the beginning or a solid offer, and then you anticipate gathering email addresses that you can then communicate to, in no time, you're going to have a huge list. Trust me on that one. So to ensure the maximum deliverability when you're sending out your emails from multiple domains, you want to spread the delivery of the emails over those multiple domains that you just registered. So consider this. If you have a total addressable market of 9,000 people, sending to reach all 9,000 people over a period of 30 days, we'll say, equates to 300 emails a day. So if you're going to be pushing out 300 emails a day, guarantee that you're going to be marked as spam instantly. The solution here is to spread the number of emails across 10 domains and send only 30 a day. Okay. What software can I, this is the second part. Having the multiple domains is great, but you need to ensure that your email sending software can accommodate that. So not just MailChimp. Let's just get away from the MailChimp world for a sec. If you are sending from multiple domains, there are a couple of more, we'll say, grown-up options to choose. Instantly.ai is an awesome email marketing tool that supports sending emails from multiple domains. If you want, excuse me. Oh, I drink too much coffee. That's why I'm always dehydrated. If you're sending from just one domain and you're using a smaller list, then my favorite of the day is MailerLite. It's super easy setup. It supports segmentation. So if you have like one company list and you sell maybe 2 or 3 different services and you have, a form for each service, then you can group them accordingly. So segmentation within MailerLite is super easy. It supports automation and it's free for up to 1,000 email addresses. Beyond that, I think you have to pay, I don't know, $10, $15 a month. It's certainly well worth it. So those are some mass email considerations that, are going to cause you to think a little bit outside of the box as you build your leads. Then how you communicate back to them is important, but protecting your brand and your integrity is super important too. And you don't want your domain blacklisted in any way. That's such an awful term, blacklisted. So nonetheless, let's move forward. Using LinkedIn is a perfect tool for prospecting, especially if you're within the professional sphere. You're not going to find, recipes on LinkedIn. You're not going to find silly reels on LinkedIn. You're going to have the opportunity within the LinkedIn world to speak with professionals, and that is just simply so refreshing. I recommend optimizing your LinkedIn profile to increase your views, and always use a professional headshot. Please leave the babies off of this. Always write some compelling headlines. Avoid things like "we help." Instead, craft an engaging summary. And if you're stuck with this, if you're stuck with trying to figure out what engaging copy can really tell your brand story, then I recommend reaching out to Nicole Gallant over at Smart Cat Marketing. Oh, I always struggle with saying that. The right words do indeed make more sales. And if you need that proof, just give Nicole a call. She'll walk you through some strategies that she has to help you write really compelling copy that's going to resonate with your brand. Okay? For sure, you would place that new story copy on your LinkedIn profile. Here's a fun fact about LinkedIn, by the way. The accounts that are owned by females actually get 2 times higher response rates than those owned by their counterpart males. So you go off and have fun with that. Prospects and followers' emails, however, within LinkedIn are often hidden. So I've been touting to you up until now the importance of having good email outreach and building your email list. But how on earth do you do that within LinkedIn when just a few years ago they blocked your ability to send and openly, transparently send and contact each person via email? So there is a solution for that. It's called the Waylaxi prospecting tools. And it's something that I'm currently experimenting with. So I'm not speaking from a great deal of position of authority on that at this point, but it's something that we are experimenting with. And it is an industry standard. It's been well received. I've read all the reviews, and it does work well. But you have to be careful with something like this. I'm currently using the free plan. That's It's going to allow me to contact up to 100 people per week on LinkedIn through email. Okay, here's the link for it. Just do a search for it. Operate at your own risk, of course. I suggest before you use a tool like Waylexi to do LinkedIn outreach, that you take a really hard look at your list and parse it, because depending on what industry you're in, if you started your LinkedIn journey and your LinkedIn, when you first established your LinkedIn profile, you might have put something on there like looking for opportunities. Well, then you might have had like a huge influx from various industries come in that maybe don't resonate with you now. So I would suggest that you clean up your list and keep your list relevant to the types of people and targets that you work with now. Okay, so before you use a tool like an outreach tool on LinkedIn, do that. Okay. This tool allows you to import your LinkedIn leads and to send out invitations and emails to those prospects, excuse me. It's an automatic follow-up routine with all of your contacts, and the free tool, as I said, allows you to reach out to 100 a week. I'd suggest checking it out. And if you do, let me know how you make out. I'd appreciate that. But of course, always make sure that you parse that list first. So LinkedIn is an excellent prospecting tool without a doubt, but so is Facebook. It can be a very, very strong lead generation tool, and we can efficiently capture leads in the Facebook timeline, very symbolic of making a digital handshake using a Facebook leads ad. Now, this is a little different than just a generic Facebook ad that's sent out to a targeted list. A Facebook lead ad actually does some conversion right in the Facebook environment, and the ad itself, when clicked, will open a lead generation form. Okay, it's an ad format that allows us as advertisers to collect that information from the prospects, from the targeted prospects, in a very simple way, right in the Facebook environment. It's very uncomplicated for advertisers to manage. It's very easy for us to use, and it's super, super easy for the prospects to enter their information, which is what's most important, right? Using Facebook's instant form, you do collect information such as their name and their email address without them requiring to leave the platform. So, the less steps that you make your prospects walk through, the higher the potential is for them to engage. Yeah, and one thing that Facebook will do too is it'll sometimes pre-populate some of the information based on the prospect as well. So using the Facebook lead ads is really cool. And Facebook has one of the largest audiences in the social media network space right now. It's a very, very robust advertising platform to match. And most Facebook users get access to the social network through mobile devices, obviously. I think like 80% of my visitors are coming to me on mobile. So these ads are optimized for mobile, do be sure. Okay. And the advantage here is that leads are collected right at the Facebook feed level. I've mentioned that. But it's a seamless integration of the leads, and the collection process is right there within the Facebook feed. So that's super helpful. Let's check out how it's used. So first, a user sees your enticing ad and they come across this while they're scrolling through Facebook. Then they actually click on that call to action button, and then they'll be able to fill out the information that's there, the information that's been requested rather, and they can answer some of your most common questions as well. What's great about this ad type is that Facebook autofills some of these answers for your potential customers, leaving less for them to fill out and increasing the chances that they're going to complete the form. So let's walk through very, very quickly how to set up a Facebook leads ad. Okay, you have the option to create a leads ad form from either your Facebook page or from the ads manager. I always use the ads manager because the interface within Facebook page sometimes will change. So how to create that? Simply go into your ads manager, and then click, create the top left corner, just as you would any other ad. But at the objective level, this is where you have to be very clear in identifying that you want to create a lead generation type of ad as your objective. Then usually indicate your campaign name, you validate or confirm what the page name is, and then you agree to the terms that are there. And you'll have to take it upon yourself to read all those. Then simply choose your target audience. And you've done all of your research before because you know your target audience, and you may have built audiences. I think one of our webinars on the YouTube channel talks specifically about saving your audiences and managing your audiences. Then once you identify and choose your audience, the placement across the Facebook ads network, LinkedIn, Instagram or Facebook, and the different channels associated with each. Okay, and then you will choose your budget and your schedule. So the start and the end time. End time super important. Otherwise, they'll just keep charging you until your budget is expended. Okay. One thing I recognize is that lead ads cannot be targeted to people who are below or 18 years of age or younger. So do make sure that your audience doesn't include that. Then you can select the different ad formats. I don't know if you can do the carousel ad. I mentioned this here, but now that I think about it, I don't know if you could do a carousel ad with lead gen, but you can certainly do a single slideshow or a video. And then you just fill in the rest of the information as you would normally create your ad. Here then is where you start to build out the form itself. So anybody who's created a simple ad on Facebook will have known the steps up until now. We deviate a little bit to create a leads ad component. So this is where you add the form title, the type of form, the intro, and your questions and so forth. So, and again, it may look a little different, but the gist is exactly this. So your form type is you select either volume or higher intent. I choose more volume if your campaign goal is to be, your goal is to have the form completed by as many people as possible. Higher intent will allow you to add a step to your form that allows people to review the form content first before they hit submit. That's a nice courtesy to offer, I think. Then you scroll down and you enter your intro and, this section clearly explains why people should fill out your form. Okay, so you just want to reinforce what they're going to get by filling out the form. And then you can build in the types of questions that you want to ask people on their form. Could be their maybe if you are selling a vacation package, you might want to ask them, what time of year do you like to travel typically? And based on that information, then you could send them winter holiday tips, right? Okay, so you can choose actually up to 15 questions that could be positioned on this form. Would you put 15 questions on a form? Would you, as the prospect, want to fill out 15 answers? Probably not. That's a little much. Nonetheless, you can. You must ensure that the privacy policy is included. It's a requirement within Facebook. And then there's an opportunity to have a screen. Okay, let's move right along. Under settings, you would click the name of your form, check that you indeed want to collect organic leads. And then you just carry through, and then you can customize that call to action. You can have actually up to 3 different call to action placements to view the website, to download, or call your actual business. So it's pretty easy to set up a Facebook lead ad. I didn't go into great detail because I just don't have confidence that Facebook's screen will look the same from the screenshot I might have taken last month to now. But that is the general process of setting up a Facebook leads ad. What's important is that it's going to be distributed across this network. So across the Facebook network, you have the opportunity to have that ad displayed across Instagram and Facebook channel. So it works really well. Super. Let's take a look at a couple examples of lead gen ads that I've seen on Facebook that I really, really like. If you're not following WordStream, I'd recommend it. They're an awesome company, give out great information. Here's one that they have a lead ad to encourage people to start writing better ad copy. This is when you click on the form, this is what appears. So this is a really nice looking form. The brand is consistent. I can see what I'm doing, what, why I'm the validation for entering the data in this form. And then here, you just fill this out to get the guide. It works really, really well. I like it. There's the thank you page. You're all set. And here you go. You get your download. So all in the span of, less than a minute or so, you have some valuable information. You have your contact, your prospects, valuable information, and they in turn have this fabulous download. Facebook Blueprint, again, here's an example where Facebook changes things. It's not called Blueprint anymore. As of November 17th, 2022, it is called Facebook, facebook.com/business, just business. So facebook.com business. If you've not checked that out, I highly recommend you do. There's tons of information there that can help you become better marketers for your business. There you go, Facebook Blueprint, etc., etc. All right. So using all of these technologies is great, but if you don't know what to say and how to say what you want to say, then it's just going to go flat with your audience, right? Okay, let's take a look at writing compelling copy. And I'm just going to focus on 3 areas of writing the compelling copy. I'm not going to teach you to be copywriters. I don't know if that can be taught, especially within an hour, but I'm just going to focus on 3 areas that can help you create better compelling copy so that you can entice your audience to stay engaged. Personalization is key. Using case studies is key, and using the right kinds of call to actions is key to writing compelling copy. So when we think about the copy, having personalization embedded is super, super important, because personalization allows us to segment things all the more. You can personalize by segmenting your email lists into relevant groups. And the result of that is that relevant emails will then be targeted to those specific groups. The first line in your communication will often make or break any outreach campaign, and that's why personalization will always increase the performance of your campaign. The more personalized, the more likely you'll have replies. Okay. Here's a great one. For example, in the subject line, hello, first name, well, your email program like MailerLite will allow you to plunk in their first name at this stage of the subject. Hello, Sam, the dress you tagged is now in stock at 20% less for preferred customers like you. Well, that is a compelling subject line that's going to encourage me to click through. Let's take a look at the single sentence study. When you want to use case studies in particular, we don't have to use those huge methodology researched case studies anymore. We're going to use, and I recommend just using, simple single sentence case studies. Here's the template for a case study, and we'd welcome the opportunity to help you achieve the same. Here's an example. Recently, we helped an investment advisor grow their prospect list by 38% when we segmented outreach to send business succession related content directly and only to a relevant audience. And we'd like to help you achieve the same. It's kind of marketing, it's kind of salesy, but at the same time, it's showing our value. So it's another way of positioning your offer through a case study when you're communicating to your new audience. It's very simple and it can be very effective. When encouraging your audience to take an action, that's known as a call to action. And do we do hard call to actions versus soft call to actions? In my opinion, we just want to pitch softly. Because if we're communicating to an audience that we know and that is a clearly defined target audience, probably would not appreciate being commanded to take an action. So I think being softer and less direct and non-salesy is the way to go. And the more competitive that your niche is, the softer the call to action should actually be. Now, a hard example of a call to action that would probably not work would be this one. Pick a time using my Calendly link in the signature. Look. So what do I have to do? I have to find the signature, then I have to find the Calendly link and then go through all the steps to find the right appointment type? Not going to happen. Mind if I send over a link to my calendar as a softer approach? More likely that that would resonate with your audience. Here are a few more examples. Mind if I send over a few appointment times, worth a quick chat, etc. Take that softer approach. You'll have much more success. So I think it's an opportunity at this point to just expand on what we were talking about. I'll give you a few examples of out-of-the-box scripts that we can use. Here's some for your inspiration. Using that super hyper-personalized approach and a one-sentence script as well. We saw how using personalization in the subject line likely would resonate with the audience and encourage us to open that email. Here's another recommended approach for doing hyper-personalization. And it's especially useful if you have a total addressable market that's small. If you have a small TAM, you can't risk sending out large emails each week. Okay, you have to be very pointed. So personalization in the subject and in the body of your email is going to more significantly increase your response rates. So here's the template for it. Hi, first name is coded to the first name in the database. Little personalization statement. Don't be flattering here. Just say something that resonates your connection with that person. Also, I wanted to ask about, this is their company name, are you using, etc., probably your competitor's product, to do something? I'm asking because our tool recently helped a similar firm increase blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you kind of quote your little case study there. Here's a simple, soft call to action. Would you be open to exploring how it could help you? Here, let's look at an actual example of this hyper-personalization. Okay, hey, your talk last week, Sam, was great. I totally adore your mascot. Also, I wanted to ask about your business name. Are you using whatever to improve this? I'm asking because our tool recently helped. You see where this is going here? And then the soft call to action is, would you be open to exploring this? And then always leave them with a little smile. Hey, I'm looking forward to your next conference and catching up with your mascot, whatever. This is a nice, soft, friendly email. Give it a day or so after sending this, and then follow up with a short sales presentation talking about your offer and the fees and the benefits in that order. Why should you follow up? Because it's going to help to reinforce your value. It's going to help to reinforce your offer, but it's also giving that prospect something tangible to look through. Oh, this is what they do. This is what they charge for. Okay, now let me think about this. Likely, they're going to have the opportunity in private to mull it over. Then the likelihood of them reaching out to you will be greater. It shows transparency on your part to share that information with your targeted audience. You're not broadcasting your price list to your competitors here. You're talking with somebody who you actually want to do business with. So this is a great way to share the cost of your value. Okay, the one sentence script is a powerful outreach tool. It's very, very powerful lead gen tool. It's actually one of my favorites. It's quick, it's to the point, it's respectful of your prospect's time. And I'm trying to be respectful of time here today. The one sentence script allows you to phrase something as a question. The response is either a yes or no. Here's one I sent out some time ago. You're still looking to be number one on search result for Google for tourism accommodations in your area. Well, that's pointed. Who's going to say no to that? If they say yes, then this is what we can do. Okay. This works well. So during our conversations and, and using these scripts, we have to realize that there could be an opportunity where we have to close this loop. And that's known as the follow-up loop, and then having an appointment booking process in place. Follow-up is where the money is, for sure. And there's usually two approaches to doing follow-up. There's a sequential follow-up. And if you have a strong email system like MailerLite, you can have your your sequence follow-ups automated. And then there's the after reply follow-up. So when they say, yeah, I might be interested in talking with you, then how do we communicate with them? The sequential follow-up is like having that automated email sequence. It's the main auto response series that's sent to your email responder using a tool like MailChimp or MailerLite. Okay, it's activated when somebody joins your list. And this is something that happens like in evergreen mode. It's always running in the background. Whenever somebody signs up to your email list, you don't want to be sending them the same email, manually each time. So this is known as that evergreen formula. The first one should always be, thank you, here's your PDF, or thank you, here's your offer. And then after a few days, start your automated sequence of communications with them. The second email should be sent 3 to 5 days after the first. Again, always thank them for joining your list, and then provide whatever reminder links for any offers that they might have to download from their first request. And then offer a very soft call to action, like you're available to chat about what your company can do for them. So this is the soft sell approach. You can, at this point, maybe provide a few extra links to articles that might be on your website that's relevant to them, but don't bombard them with things that are not relevant to them. That's why segmenting your list is super important. The next part of the sequential could be sending out a third email a week later, where you might want to quote a case study. You might want to provide some details on that particular case study and show some peer reviews, their peer reviews, not yours. And then again, offer that soft call to action. So you're staying in that person's inbox. They might not be responding right away, but you're staying top of mind. If, however, after so many emails, they're not engaging, send them that breakup email. I know it sounds hard, but really it's going to show empathy to your audience that maybe having a conversation on their part with you now is just not the best time. So tell them that you're not going to be bombarding them with any more emails, but that they'll still remain on your general list. So that's showing a great deal of respect for that prospect. Again, always share a soft CTA to invite them to book the link and give them a link to your main website. Always thank them for their time. So that's an automated sequence that everybody should have in running through their business as well. But what happens when you get an actual positive response? Okay, there's an opportunity here to turn those positive replies into actual emails. So when you think about the types of responses, well, they may vary, of course. Positive responses are things like, well, I'm interested, but just not now. Okay, well, that's telling me there's still a chance here. Or I'm really interested now. Well, okay, fine, let's get that booking call done. I'm not interested. Okay, at least you know they're not interested. And then if they say, well, I'm already covered for that, well, there's still an opportunity to keep that door open. Let's take a look at these positive responses and how you, in turn, can respond. So if they say they're interested, but not now, well, say something like, okay, no problem. May I reach out again in a few weeks? Or, hey, thanks for that update. When would be a better time to touch base? So you're putting the ball back in their court, but don't leave it at that. Keep after them. The other option is that, oh, I'm interested now. Okay, well then fine, perfect. You go through booking the meeting. You say, okay, great, I have some availability next week. Let's talk, etc. You send them the link to your specific calendar appointment. Or you could just say, oh, look, I have time 1, 2, or 3 open. Pick one, and I'll make sure that we have something available for you. Now, even if you get a prospect to this point, sometimes they may not bite. So it's important that if somebody does show interest in sending you a message saying they want to move forward, it's important for you to do follow-up. Okay, so don't just do one follow-up. Consistently keep them on your radar. Lead generation can be hard, and it takes a lot of time, but boy, is it worth it. Okay, next slide. Yes. Right. If they tell you they're not interested, well, thank them for that information, and then ask them if they'd mind if you check back with them in a few months' time. Another thing would be say, okay, fine, that's cool. If anything does change, feel free to send me an email, and I would love to help. So always respond, even if it's not what you want to hear. If there's an already covered response saying, I already have somebody in place that does what you do, well, then you say, okay, well, that's great to hear. Just sort of curiosity, ask them a couple of questions, and then, keep them in the loop. Always keep these people in the loop, because they might not be satisfied with the service they're getting. Okay. So we've covered the 3 pillars of lead generation in a very, very broad way. We know that awareness leads to conversion, and then we have an obligation after that to nurture our audience using a variety of tech tools. Talking to your leads is super, super important. You just can't leave them stagnant on your list, okay? They've shown trust in you to give you that coveted email address, and they're, in a way, expecting a conversation. Here's an example of a great way to communicate with new leads. And this is a lead generation blueprint that is fairly straightforward. If you take a look in detail, we have first the outreach tool, the awareness tool, either, let's say in this case, a Facebook ad generated some interest. We gave somebody the report. We know to send them that email there. Here's the high value piece of content, that PDF that they use, but here's the welcome sequence as well. So this is the structure that I use for a lot of our general lead generation campaigns. Using MailerLite as an example, I would encourage you to replicate this sort of system. So let's just quickly walk through the types of emails that can be sent to encourage that opportunity to build more of a relationship with your customer. And it's the recommended approach for sure. And you begin this automation here. This is all done in automation. This is built in as an automated tool through example MailerLite. And I don't have a shares of the MailerLite company by any means, but it's a fine product. You can begin this at the time of a new lead sign up, and this can be done on automation in an evergreen mode. Send the lead magnet, and then to send your welcome and your nurturing and your offer series of emails. Best practices, before you start sending email campaigns, always make sure that you educate yourself on anti-spam and data privacy laws in your area to make sure that you're in compliance with that. And if you do so in Canada, you can look at www.priv.gc.ca for those options. I can assure you MailerChimp respects the privacy anti-spam legislation laws that are in this country. Use personalization tokens. We saw the power of using that earlier, okay? It makes your prospects feel important. It makes your prospects think you're speaking directly to them. And as a result, they're more likely to engage. And always remember your brand voice. They should. Your tone may change depending on the context of what you're saying. A cancellation email might have a more serious tone than your newsletter, but your overall brand ethos should be apparent on all of what you do. Okay, stay humorous, stay lighthearted. Have an end goal in mind when running your email marketing. Okay. Again, this is all part of lead generation, that your leads are the receptors of these types of emails. So you will want to make sure that you communicate appropriately there. Okay. Other best practices, always focus on that first subject line. Is shorter better? What about using emojis? If your audience likes emojis, absolutely, because it'll help you stand out in the inbox for sure. This is the email sequence that I referred to earlier. Okay, so let's take a look at generating the copy for the very first part. So the lead magnet delivery email. You're sending off something that somebody saw an ad for, or on Facebook or Instagram, and they clicked, and now they're going to get that first email from you. You want to send this right away with the lead magnet, and you want to send it with thanks as well. And you want to say something like, well, thank you for downloading the lead magnet title. We're excited to share this info with you. Then offer them something else. Here, you have the attention of your prospect right now. They've already shown an interest in what you offer. Here's a chance for you to offer an additional discount to further encourage them to have a relationship with you. Okay, so that's a good way to engage with them initially. Then we have the welcome series, and I would send this a couple of days after them first getting the lead offer. And then you can say, thanks for joining us. This is what we do. If you want more, here's how you can reach us. So this is a nice way to reinforce your brand image, because they're seeing what your logo is, they're seeing your copy and your style. So this is a way of keeping your brand top of mind. And then part of the nurturing series, as we move through, might be where we want to lead them through the process where they can consider making that initial purchase. I set up delays between each email and the sequence to move that prospect further through the workflow. And it's a great way to keep them engaged in your workflow for a longer period of time. So you can send out several of these nurturing emails spaced appropriately every week or so, just to keep top of mind. And then the special offer series is important. By now, if they're opening your emails, and your email statistics will tell you, then it could be a good opportunity to send out some promotional emails, because they are obviously listening to what you have to say. They're opening your emails. Your brand is resonating with them. Okay, so there's an opportunity to send a series of promotional emails out as well. And then the thank you email at the very, very end. Okay. So at this point, I'd like to invite you to actually stop overthinking this thing of digital, and look at engaging someone, or at least bringing in some formality with your lead generation system. And building a simple funnel is attainable. The marketing technologies, do not be intimidated by that. We can help. Again, look through our members database on Digital Nova Scotia. There's a plethora of qualified individuals that can help walk you through this, or give you some opportunity to build this for you. But be cognizant that lead generation is a serious and requirement for any business, and you have to look at the type of strategy that resonates best with your audience. What will they best respond to, and what's going to work well for you. Always monitor your inbox once you start rolling out your lead generation systems, and get those meetings booked. Okay. So I'd like to thank you very much for your time today. We've gone over, which is typical of my webinars. If you would like to have a conversation with any of us, please reach out. Otherwise, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Shelley. This was really informational. I took down some notes from, I don't know, but I just enjoy taking notes and learning new knowledge every time I get the opportunity. So thank you so much for this powerful presentation. And thank you to everyone that took out time to attend this afternoon. Like we said, this session has been recorded and to be uploaded on the Digitport YouTube channel. So you can always go back to listen to it again. Thank you again. And we do hope you have a beautiful rest of the day. Thank you,
Thank
Shirley.
you as well. Bye-bye.
Bye.